ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Let us read the first two verses of the 16th chapter on the page 22. Arjuna uvacha ye shastra vidhimutsrujya yajante shraddhayanvitaha tesham nishtha tu ka Krishna sattvamaho rajastamaha. Bhagavad uvacha sattvaste vidha bhavati shraddha dehinam sa svabhavaja sattviki rajasi chaiva tamasi cheti tam shrunu. Arjuna asking a question here that those people who worship with Shraddha or devotion, they do not know the stipulations of the scriptures. However, on their own they worship the deities. What should we call them? What is the nature of their Shraddha, or where do they abide? In Sattva, Rajas or Tamas. And Lord Krishna said, Trivida Bhavati Shraddha. Here Arjuna, Shraddha is threefold. Dehinam sa svabhavaja. And everybody, every human being is born with a Shraddha, with a tendency. As we said yesterday, the word Shraddha is not simply to be translated as faith, because the word faith is a technical word. And usually faith is associated with like Christian faith or Islam faith, etc. That is not what we mean by the word Shraddha or faith here. But Lord Krishna says, Svabhavaja, everyone is born with certain convictions in their life. Everyone is born with certain convictions. And that is what determines what their Shraddha or faith is. It is a faith or conviction about the life, not about a religion, etc., but then convictions about life. The word Shraddha is explained as made up of two elements, Shrat and Dha. Shrat and Dha becomes Shraddha. So this word Shrat means Satyam, which is truth, and Dha means Dharanam, to hold something as truth. Shraddha then means that to hold something as truth. And Lord Krishna says that everyone actually is svabhavaja. By very nature, everyone is born with certain convictions. Even though they are not evident in small children, but as a person grows, then what they have brought with them, because everybody has brought a certain disposition with them. Since we believe in the previous birth and previous births also, therefore, the present is the product of the past, and therefore, the manner in which a person has lived the life in the past births, that determines the present disposition. So, everyone is born with a certain disposition. Because of that, everyone has certain kind of beliefs or certain kind of convictions in their life. And accordingly, the Shraddha can be, Shraddha means this conviction. These convictions can be classified as Sattvic, Rajas and Tamas. The Lord Krishna will explain what that means. So let us proceed with the next verse now. Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddha mayoyam purushaha Yo yat shraddhassa eva saha. Sattvam rupa sarvasya shraddha bhavati bharata. In Bharata, the shraddha is in keeping with their own mind or their own disposition. Meaning, what kind of convictions a person will have will be generally determined by what kind of disposition a person is born with. As I said, the dispositions can be broadly classified as sattvic, rajas and tamas. Where there is predominance of sattva guna, where there is the sattva guna is there, the sattva is purity or clarity. So there, in that mind which enjoys the predominance of sattva, will find purity, sanctity, clarity, and all the noble qualities such as non-violence, truthfulness, kindness, compassion. These qualities will be evident in the mind that enjoys sattva. And the convictions of that person also will be accordingly. The convictions that that person will have in the life also will be then determined by that disposition of mind. A person is born with the predominance of rajas, where rajas is greed, ambitions, a craving for sense gratification, ego gratification. A person is born with that kind of disposition, then the convictions the person will have will be determined by that disposition. Where tamas is predominant, person is born as without any great initiative, rather dull or sometimes cruel, then the convictions will be determined by that mind. For example, whether I am inclined to follow the law or not, there may be a person who just revolts against any kind of law or authority. Somebody is inclined to obey the law. Someone crosses all the T's and dots all the I's and follows everything. Somebody just revolts. Somebody is a mixture. When I see a red traffic light, what is my inclination? Would I want to... suppose there was no traffic policeman. I knew that nobody supervises this place here. There is no traffic policeman, nothing. Then at what speed would I drive my car on the road? How will I act? How will I treat? Respond when there is a red traffic light or a stop sign or something that puts a restriction on my freedom. Whether I honor that, recognizing that it is meant for everybody's safety, and therefore I should honor that whether there is somebody who restrains me or not. Meaning a sattvic person will not wait for somebody to control him or restrain him. There will be a discipline that will be from within one's own self. Because there is a very sympathetic approach towards the law, recognizing that these laws are meant for everybody's safety. Meaning that that discipline or law is not interpreted as an aggression on one's freedom, but it is interpreted as aiding one's freedom. That the freedom is interpreted as doing what is right rather than doing what one wants to do. Just the disposition is like that. The basic law everybody knows, that I should not do unto others what I do not want to be done to me. There will be someone who respects this. That yes, I should not do unto others what I do not want them to do to me. But everybody does not respect. A thief, for example, does not respect it. When he commits a theft, he knows that people do not want me to commit that theft. If they came to my house, I would not want them to steal something that belongs to me. It's very clear. And still the person does it, doesn't respect that. So sometimes respecting law, sometimes tendency to violate the law, There are some people who always brush with the laws, always. That's how the mind is. So we see some people have brought that mind. Not that the mind cannot be changed. The whole idea is that we can bring about a complete transformation. And therefore, nobody is doomed or condemned forever. Our mind is such that it can be transformed. And all this discussion is meant for transforming our mind. And the discussion also is meant for us to observe our own tendencies, to see where we fall, and therefore what kind of measures we should undertake to bring about a change wherever necessary. Whether a person believes, what is life all about? Somebody may think that life is just whatever you see is life. As Kathopanishad describes, na samparayah pratibhati balam pramadyantam vittamohena mudham. A person is so fascinated by the wealth and name, fame and property and recognition that he thinks that is all that life has to offer. Ayam loka nasti para iti mani. That's all the life is all about. There's nothing beyond or above beyond that. This is the conviction. And with that conviction then will determine what the priorities are, what the values are, what the person will do. On the other hand, Kathopanishad has is Nachiketa. And Nachiketa has the conviction that what I want is knowledge of the self. Conviction. Shraddha Avesha. So when Nachiketa saw his father, the story is well known. Then Nachiketa's father was performing a very elaborate Vedic ritual. And at the conclusion of any ritual, you distribute gifts to the priests and brahmanas who are attending and officiating. Nachiketa is a young boy and observing the proceedings. And he sees that his father is giving away old, infirm, useless cows, which cows will actually be a burden to the Brahmins, the priests to whom they are given. When he saw that, Upanishad says, Tam Shraddha Avivesha. In Nachiketa's mind, Shraddha entered. His convictions entered. Says, hey, immediately this thought occurred in his mind. Anandanamate lokaha. The person who gives this kind of cows will go to the world where there is a lot of suffering. Meaning my father will go to hell, where there will be nothing but pain. This whole ceremony is performed so that he will go to heavens. But on account of giving this kind of gifts, he is inviting only the suffering of hell for himself. That's not right. So what should you do? See how the Shraddha works. Nachiketa thinks that, well, I am a son, and the duty of the son is to protect the father. Maybe my father does not have enough resources to give gifts to all these Brahmins. Let me offer myself. A son also can be called the property of the father. Let me offer myself. Therefore, Father, if there is any lack of resources, I am offering myself to you. You can give me the gift as a gift to somebody, and that is how be saved from the sin of giving this kind of cows to the Brahmins. With this intention, he goes to his father and asks his father, Tata kasmai mam dasasidi. Oh father, who are you going to give me as a gift? A question will not make any sense. Dvitiyam, Trutiyam. Father is very busy distributing gifts. Here the boy comes and says something. And Dvitiyam, Trutiyam, the father did not make a note of the child first time, second time, third time he persisted because it was very important to him. For Nachiketa, it was very important to clarify because he saw his father was doing something wrong. He wanted to correct it. And father thought that this boy is indulgent. What is this? He's arrogant. I'm busy. He is disturbing me. Father got angry. Mrityavetva dadamiti. I am giving you to death. Said out of anger. Like a mother may say, go and fall in the well. Something like that. No child does it. No. But this boy, again, because he has a tremendous trust. He has a faith in satyam, in truthfulness. Because my father said it, these words must be made true. He went into solitude and thought, why did my father say this? Is he punishing me for some offense that I have committed? I haven't done anything to offend my father. I never disobeyed him. I never not did my lessons. I never always done it. I'm a very obedient son as well as a disciple. Or maybe he's just sending me to Lord Death because Lord Death needs me. So what am I going to do for Lord Death? I don't think he needs me. After giving all the benefit of doubt to his father, then finally he came to conclusion that my father has said it only out of anger. That's it. After giving all, we would generally think this is the old man doesn't know anything. He's like that, Swami. Don't listen to him. Sometimes children say, Swamiji, don't take my mother seriously. But Nachiketa did not do that. He took it seriously. And when he could not give any benefit to his father, then he came to conclusion that it has been said out of anger. Then he goes to his father, says, Father, let me go to Lord Death. Says, what? Yes, you said you are giving me to death, please let me go. No, my child, I did not mean that. I said only out of anger. I did not mean, I was not serious. But you said it. And because you said it, you must be true to your words. Look at the tradition of our family. Nobody in our ancestry has ever gone back on their words, and no learned or cultured people ever go back on their words. So you also should not do, and therefore you should let me go. No, when your son shows you law like this, what will you do? We make the law in the house and then they show us the law. Sometimes, Dad, you're a hypocrite, something like that. You make a law, you don't follow that. The father has no choice. He has to let his son go. And Nachiketa goes to Lord Death. And Lord Death has gone out for some errand, returns after 3 days, and he's told, this boy has been waiting here for you. He has not taken any food, no water, nothing, because he's a property of Lord Death. And he cannot even take food unless he gets permission from him. So he just waited. Lord Death, Yamaraja was amazed. He invited this child, gave him the seat of respect, showed all the respect to a guest even though he's a young boy. Performed worship and said, I'm very sorry that you had to go hungry at my home for 3 nights. Please pardon me. Because if a guest goes hungry from your home like this, he can burn everything. His anger can burn anything. Please pardon me. I know that you are a very learned boy and therefore you will pardon me. But still, I am so pleased with you, I am offering you 3 boons. One for every night that you stayed hungry at my home. Now, everywhere this Shraddha, the conviction comes in. What will you ask if 3 boons are given to you? What will you ask? Swami, first boon, I should have a Mercedes. Second boon, a beach home. Third boon, something like that, Whatever convictions are, whatever is important in our life, that's what we'll ask for. So it's part of what is important in my life. What do I look upon as the most important thing in my life? That is what I'll ask for. Oh, that's what I'll work for in my life. What did Nachiketa consider the most important? Well, his duty was most important to him. Therefore, he said to Yamaraja, I know that my father is very upset. He must be feeling very guilty. He must be regretting what all he has said. And also must be upset at me, angry because I did not quite obey his orders. Please grant peace of mind to my father. before asking for anything for himself, he first asks for the well-being of his father. Granted. Second, O Lord Yamaraja, I find that in the society, people are aspiring to go to heavens. Please give me that vidya, the knowledge, which I can share with them, by which they can fulfill the desire of going to heavens. Granted. So, theoretically, Nachiketa performed his duties towards his family as well as towards the society. Now comes the duty towards himself. I've heard that there is this question. Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushe astityege nayamastiri chaike. When a person departs from this body, then this question remains. Some people say that nothing remains. Some people say that something remains. Meaning that some people say that there is an Atma of the self over and above this body. Some people say that body is Atma. You are the most qualified one because you know death and everything. You know the life and death both. And therefore, I like to get from you the teaching on the nature of the self. His conviction, what is most important to him. And Yamaraja wanted to see whether really the conviction is genuine or what. Sometimes we ask questions which we repeat from somewhere, So you read someplace and you ask a question, or you heard it someplace. So is this boy serious? And so Yamaraja tried to discourage him. He says, hey, Nachiketa, do you know? Even Devatas, gods also, who are so brilliant, even they also are still in doubt about these issues. It is very subtle. You better give up this demand of knowing the self. Nachiketa says, oh, even Devatas, gods also have this question. That means that it is something very important. I should have it. Then Yamaraja wanted to tempt him. He says, Nachiketa, you know something? Give up this demand for self-knowledge. Let me offer you a long life, sons, grandsons, wealth, gold, elephants, horses, diamonds, long life, vast kingdom, and whatever else you want to have, ask for it. But give up this demand of self-knowledge. Yamaraja kept on offering, and he made his offer bigger and bigger. They say that the offer that you cannot refuse. But here Yamaraja was really surprised. He refused. He says, what all you're offering to me is all impermanent. How long will this pleasure? This is all conviction. That the pleasures of the senses are going to be impermanent. There is no guarantee that they will be tomorrow, or they will exist tomorrow or not. And even when I am enjoying these pleasures, it is at the cost of my vitality. And the long life that you're offering, how long can it be in the time that is infinite? How long can the life be? So keep all your dance and chariot and everything with you. I have nothing to do with them. I'm just saying what is meant by Shraddha. Meaning, one is born with Shraddha. This is of course the highest kind of Shraddha. But we see many examples, even in the Puranas, Upanishads, everywhere, where, for example, two kings, one is a king of gods, his name was Indra, other is king of demons, his name was Virochana. Both of them approached a teacher whose name is Prajapati, the creator, with a request for knowledge of the self. And Prajapati teaches them after they perform a lot of penance and says that the person that you see in the right eye is a self. It's a technical way of saying something, but then person that you see in the right eye is a self. So each one looked at the right eye of the other. Who did they see? They saw themselves, their body. So then the conclusion is that Prajapati is saying that this body is a self. Both of them satisfied. Prajapati gave some other test to see, to convey to them that I don't mean that, but somehow they could not see that. Both of them walked away, satisfied that they have gained the knowledge of the self. Of them, Virochana, the king of demons, went home and taught everybody that the great grandsire has said that the body is the self, and therefore you must worship it, you must decorate it, you must ornament it, worship it, and that will bring you heavens. Indra also went back. But he said, hey, this doesn't sound right. Because self is immortal. Body is not immortal. How can body be self? Doesn't sound right. Goes back. Performs penance. But what I am saying is how different people's disposition, they respond to the same thing in different ways. That is because everybody has brought his or her own disposition, while there are some convictions. Or there are tendencies that certain convictions can be created. A given person will be influenced by a certain thing, another person may not be influenced. So what influences me? You watch TV and watch all kinds of things, whether a film star influences you, whether a sports star influences you, whether a politician, a leader influences you, whether a wealthy person influences you, or whether a Swami or a monk influences you. Depends. Again, depends upon the disposition of our mind. What influences me? What creates an impact upon me? What inspires me? All of this is what is meant by Shraddha or faith. As we say, by faith we do not just mean a certain religious faith. Faith is the inherent Shraddha, the conviction and the tendency that a person has born with him or her. Each one of us is born with those inherent tendencies, inherent convictions, which manifest themselves as we grow older. So Lord Krishna says, Sattvan Rupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata. Hey Bharata, hey Arjuna, everybody is Shraddha. Faith, convictions are according to the disposition of their mind. If the mind has predominance of sattva, then the Shraddha, those convictions will be sattvic. Their disposition, this determines everything. The convictions, the aptitudes, the values, the things that you like, things that you enjoy, all of this is determined by what we call the Shraddha or the basic conviction. Therefore, the Shraddha is a very important thing. Lord Krishna says, Shraddha mayoyam purusha yo yash Shraddha sevasah. This Purusha means a human being is Shraddha maya, is predominant in Shraddha. So what is the most predominant aspect of my personality? Shraddha. My faith, my belief system, my convictions, my tendencies, that is what makes me. As a Shraddha, as they say, as the mind, so the man, they say. As the mind, so the man. But what is mind? Here it is said Shraddha. As a Shraddha, so the man, so the person. Yo yash Shraddha sevasaha. Whatever one Shraddha is, that is what a person is. Then we can change our Shraddha, then the person changes. We can change the Shraddha. That is why the parents like that the children should be exposed to what they consider as desirable influences, so that their convictions and belief systems will be molded accordingly, depending on what we get exposed to. Only today I was reading a report in the New York Times. Many of you must have heard about that event that took place, episode that took place in a mosque in Islamabad in Pakistan. There's what they call Lal Masjid, or Red Mosque, whether it is a school or there are schools called madrasas, religious schools for boys as well as girls. And what they teach in the schools, the reporter reports, she interviewed certain girls who were studying in this religious school for 6 to 8 years, and now because the government in fact took hold of that mosque, everybody is out, and these girls are back to their home. But you see how the influence is created in them. Now these girls are 16, 18, 19, 20-year-old, and they are teaching the girls in their village. But they put their burqa, they put that curtain over their head. Whenever there is any person and any man who is not closely related to them, they will cover their face. So these 4 girls are talking to each other, and the father of one of the girls walks in. But then that person is not closely related to other 3 girls. So they right away covered their faces. And the father's daughter, this man's daughter, said, "You walk away from here. You leave this place." And that fellow left. These girls have come with the conviction that this life is nothing. They are always talking about life after life. In paradise, what all kinds of things there are. And particularly if you are a martyr. If you die for the cause of religion, you are a martyr, you go to paradise, and what all kind of food you will get, and what all pleasures you will get. That's what they are teaching little children. I mean, this same girl says, "Look how useless I was before. Formerly I was watching TV and listening to music." She regretted. Now she has firm conviction about the religion. All I am saying is how the mind is available for influencing, and therefore, of course, we have brought our own disposition to begin with, and as the mind is subject to different influences, how the belief systems can change also. But this is how things are. Yo ya shraddha sayeva saha. Whatever one's belief systems are, meaning what values one respects, what goals one entertains, what kind of philosophy of life one has, what one looks upon as the most important thing in life, what one looks upon as a goal of life, and for reaching that goal also, what kind of means one is willing to apply. Whether you want to achieve a goal by hook or crook, or you want to achieve by fair means or by foul, all of these are part of the shraddha or the conviction. And as the shraddha is, so the person is. How do we know what kind of a shraddha one has? Now, as we said, this is meant for understanding our own self. And what kind of shraddha we have can be judged based on what kind of aptitudes we have. Here Lord Krishna gives some traditional examples of the aptitudes that people with different shraddhas have, from which it can be judged what kind of shraddha they possess. So in the 4th verse we are told, Yajante satvika devan yaksha rakshamsi rajasaha pretan bhutaganamschanye yajante tamasa janaha. Explain in a traditional way. What preferences do you have in worship? Who do you worship in your life? Understand that everybody worships somebody or other in their life. Everybody has their idols or their ideals. And we worship them, we adore them. So who do you adore in your life? Yajante satvikaha devan. Lord Krishna says that the people who are born with the disposition of sattva, they are inclined to, or they like to worship the devatas. Devatas means gods. Gods means those who enjoy the sattvic disposition. Meaning that these people will have a tendency to worship the devata gods, or worship also the people who display those kind of tendencies. Meaning that they will have respect or reverence for saints, respect for people who are spiritual, who themselves are pure and clean, who follow those noble values of life. So they are the kind of people who will inspire them. So whether you are inspired by Mahatma Gandhi, inspired by Swami Vivekananda, by whom? By Lincoln, whatever. So there are many people in this world who are well known for their noble qualities, well known for their values and qualities, and they stood for them in their life. They suffered wherever it was necessary, but then they stuck to those values. This is what will inspire somebody. Some people will be inclined to only worship devatas. Therefore, even some little children, you see, sometimes the grandparents report to us, typically in a Hindu home there is always an altar of worship, at home also. And if nobody, at least grandparents, old people perform regular worship there. Like grandmother will wake up early in the morning and then take her bath and then do the worship. So she says, my grandchild is just only 1 year old, just crawling. So this grandchild sees the grandma doing something, crawls and slowly comes and sits in the lap, then slowly wants to ring that bell, wants to wave the light, wants to do that. That kind of sport this child likes. What kind of sport a person likes, what kind of things that you like, what kind of aptitudes you have. Some people like to go to listen to the katha, meaning the discourses on Ramayana. They enjoy watching the Ramayana series, Mahabharata, whatever it is. So that is kind of disposition one has. So what are the things that you like? Lord Krishna says people born with the sattvic disposition will have love for gods or godly people or those kind of godly things. They will want to become like them. They will become their role models. They will want to mold themselves also in that direction and become like that. So this is how, that's what their goal is. They are devoted to that. Yaksha raksham sirajasaha. On the other hand, those who are born with the pranams of rajas, where rajas is predominant, there is the intense urge to seek sense gratification, pleasure. Where rajas is there is the urge for sense pleasure, for gratification of senses, gratification of ego. So those people automatically worship other kinds of persons. Yaksha raksham sirajasaha. Yaksha and rakshas. Again, Lord Krishna talks in the traditional terms. Yaksha means some demigods who are the attendants of Kubera. Kubera is said to be the treasurer of the gods. He is the richest person in the universe, Kubera. He is a treasurer. And these yakshas are the attendants of Kubera, meaning that those are the people who are very rich. Let us say yaksha stands for very wealthy people. And rakshasas are the demons who are very strong or powerful people. And so some people will be impressed by them. A wealthy person will really inspire them, or a man possessing power, etc. So naturally there will be inclination for those things. And they will worship them. Yaksha raksham sirajasaha. Pretan bhutaganam chanye. On the other hand, some people possess disposition where they want to hurt others. And therefore they will also worship. They will worship all those black magic and other kind of the lower elements from which they can get power and somehow hurt other people. Because the nature is tamas, and where there is, number one, they do not want to do anything on one hand, or they just want to do things in the wrong way. That's the tendency they have. Pretan, bhutaganam sanye. Preta means a departed souls. Preta is a sort of species, Bhuta is a ghost. So these are the kind of things that they worship. You will be surprised, all kinds of worships are going on. There are people who go to cremation grounds, you know that? People go to cremation grounds and spend nights there and do all kinds of things there. And they also get all kinds of powers. And they have their own devotees also. And so there are those who go to temples, there are others who go to stock market, there are those who go to cremation grounds. No, everybody has their own temples. And what do you worship in your life? So from that, meaning that from these tendencies we can judge what kind of Shraddha or disposition we have. If we find that we have a tremendous fascination of wealth and power and pleasure, then we know that Rajas is predominant. Then if you have value, then we can change it over to Sattva by deliberately exposing ourselves to influences where our views can change. We can get educated about the basic reality of life as to what a person is seeking. Well, I am seeking success, which is fair, but what is success? So where do you see your success? Some people see the success in the spiritual growth, some people see success in the material growth, some people see success in harassing other people. Different people have different ideas of success. By education, by exposing to the proper education, these ideas can be transformed and we can make the people see that, look, success is something subjective, not objective. Success or happiness depends upon the purity of your own mind, depends upon the disposition of our mind. More calm and tranquil your mind is, more sattvic your mind is, then more happy you are, more self-satisfaction is there, and a greater sense of success is there. So then they can be educated with reference to what is meant by success. If they can see that, then the values will change, priorities will change. It is for that purpose that this kind of analysis is undertaken in this chapter. Although Shankaracharya says here that people having sattvic Shraddha are always very few. People having Shraddha, the Rajas are many, and Tamas also are many. So for that reason, in the next two verses, Lord Krishna describes people who have this tamas Shraddha. So verses 5 and 6, we can read them together. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapojanaha dambhahankara sanyuktaha kamaraga balanvitaha karshayantas sharirastham bhutagramamachetasah mam chaivantas sharirastham tan vidhyasura nischayan. Lord Krishna says that, know these people that they have these asuric convictions, demoniac convictions. That is demoniac Shraddha or convictions. Like there are stories in our Puranas. This Ravana, even when he was a child, It is said that once he was lying in the lap of his mother. They must be sitting in the roof or on the terrace, I think. At that time, one aeroplane, was flying in the sky. This little boy Ravana said, "What is that, mom?" "Oh, that's a plane, aeroplane. It belongs to this Kubera. So I want it. This is the instinct that is. I want that." "Mother, if you want that, well, then you should perform penance, acquire power, and then conquer him, and then get it." This is exactly what Ravana did. When he grew up, he performed tremendous penance. The kind of penance described here, which amounts to really bring about a lot of afflictions to one's own body, but they do that. Asura-nischayan, the people who have these demoniac convictions, they will be able to undertake any kind of painful practices. Ashastra vihitam, the kind of penance or practices which do not have sanction of the scriptures. The penance is sanctioned by the scriptures, but they tell you what to do and how to do. It is not simply for mortification of the body, it is for one's spiritual growth. The purpose of penance or austerity is for one's growth, emotional growth, spiritual growth, and that kind of penance or austerities are prescribed in the scriptures. Those things don't they don't inspire these people. They want to do something else, ashastra, that which is not sanctioned by the scriptures. Ghoram, which is very severe, the severe penance they want to perform. Tapyante tapojanaha, those people who want to perform penance which is very severe and not sanctioned by the scriptures. Why do they want to do that? How come they want to disregard what the scriptures say, what the wise people say, what the elders say? They just disregard them. Meaning that those things do not create any shraddha or conviction in them. They don't understand. Dambha ahankara sanyukta, because they are endowed with dambha ahankara. Dambha means pretentiousness. Ahankara means pride or arrogance. So they always want to pretend to be different from what they are, or dambha also means that they want to make a big show about their religiosity. They want to make a big show about their greatness. And therefore they will do something by which the world will recognize them as great. So whatever it takes, dambha, because they want to project themselves as great, or as virtuous, or as great, ahankara, and they have tremendous pride. It is the need to display themselves and the pride in themselves. This is what the driving factor, driving force. And therefore, what the scriptures and what the elders and what the wise people say, that does not create an impact on them. And it is their arrogance or their pride which is what determines what they do. And they have a tremendous amount of strength also. Ahankara means ahameva shrestha eti durabhimana. There is nobody like me. Konyosti sadusho maya. Who is there in the world like me? In our Purana, there are many such examples. Ravana is one. Hiranyakashipu is another one. Hiranyaksha, all these demons. They are all portrayed. I don't know whether such people were there. I guess they may be there. But then, this is the description you find. Hiranyakashipu declared that I am God. See, look at, in contrast, his son was Prahlada, just born with altogether different tendencies. The father is a great demon, and he looks upon God or Narayana as his arch enemy. He is looking for that enemy. On the other hand, his own son is born as a great devotee of Narayana. He was born with that disposition. His father tried to change him. He was placed in Gurukula. And these two demons are instructed to teach this child. Teach them about the pleasures, teach them about all the indulgences, teach them. That's what these Rakshasas do. And this child refused to be influenced by the teachers. On the other hand, when the teachers are away, he'll gather those other children around and then influence them. After some years of training, the father of Hiranyakashipu called the gurus and said, let me see what my child has learned. So Guru said, okay child, repeat the lesson that we have told you. That fellow says, Narayana is ultimate reality. Says, what? Father was angry, is that what you taught? No, we haven't taught this. Your son is like that. Come on, go back. Again, they worked very hard to change this boy. He just would not change. To such an extent that he defied his father. They tried to kill him. He just could not be killed. Father, I'm going to kill you now. If they cannot kill you, I'll kill you. Took a sword in his hand. Let me see how your God comes. Hari comes and saves you. Where is your God? It's everywhere. You mean he's there in this pillar also? Yes. With his conviction. Yes, God is everywhere. Is he in the pillar also? Yes. Let me see how he comes out. And Hiranyakashipu kicked that pillar and came out from there, this God, in the form of half lion and half man. The idea is that this is conviction. And with that conviction, he was able to, in fact, stand against any kind of pressures. His father's conviction was just the opposite, the tamasic conviction. There's no one like me. Nobody in his kingdom could even utter the name of God. He says, I am the God, you utter my name, you worship me, you do my name of my japa of my name. Then Kama Raga Balanvitaha, they have got some kind of animalistic strength also. Arising of Kama and Raga. Kama is a strong craving for what one does not have. And Raga is a strong attachment for what one has. Kama is a strong craving. He wanted to be the emperor of the three worlds. He became strong. So it is that kind of a craving that really creates such a force in them that enables them to suffer any kind of pain. The Kama, Raga, the Bala, the demoniac strength that arises from craving as well as attachment, and that pride that there is nobody greater than me, the dambha, the strong need to display that I am the greatest in the world. Karshayanta sharirastham, they undertake practices which amount to self-mortification. Karshayanta sharirastham, bhutagramam acetasaha. Lord Krishna says that all they do is they torture themselves. Torture this body, which is made of bhutagrama, made of 5 elements. The body is made of 5 elements. They torture them. They torture me also, Lord says, because I am their self. See, Lord is our own self. He is a doer, He is the enjoyer. So when you deprive Him completely of the basic needs also, then that God who sits in there as the experiencer also is tortured. Mam chevanta sharirastham. They torture their body which is made of the 5 elements. They torture me who obtains in their own body of their own self. And they perform, even today also we can see people performing all kinds of penances just like sitting on rocks which are very hot, standing in some in some position for a long time. We can't do it for more than 5-10 minutes. They just do it for I don't know how long, months together. All kinds of things people do, and they also acquire all kinds of powers also. Because there are different kinds of powers. There are divine powers, there are demoniac powers, there are also all kinds of powers are there. Depends on what you are invoking. Meaning that one has a potential to invoke whatever one wants from one's own self. And these people are dedicated to invoking the very worst from themselves in terms of most destructive powers. And so, Tan Vidhi Asura Nischayan, here Arjuna, know these people to be of demoniac convictions. They are born with the demoniac convictions. So, Sattvic, Rajas, Tamas. Again, this is not meant to brand Swamiji, I know who you are talking about. No, we are not talking about that. That's why I said only Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, It is always safe to give those examples rather than giving any other examples, because there are a lot of controversies and you give any example and there will be devotees of that person, So you never know. You think that somebody is already recognized the whole world as a demon, let us say. But maybe there are devotees of him, and then so you might hurt somebody's feelings. But that's why we give examples only of the traditional example, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Kamsa, Even Lord Krishna's maternal uncle. He destroyed all children because he was told that the eighth child of your sister will be your destroyer. What an amount of what cruelty! And so, out of cruelty they can do anything. Destroy how many? So these Rakshasas or these demons were known as very cruel people. So the tamas people are very cruel. And they are cruel to themselves also. Not only cruel to others, cruel to themselves. That's why Lord Krishna says they torture themselves. They torture me, who is abiding in their heart as their own self. Know them to be of demoniac convictions. Meaning that people are born with divine convictions or the intermediate convictions or the demoniac convictions. And now subsequently Lord Krishna is going to describe our day-to-day activities from our preferences. What kind of preferences we have? What kind of tendencies we have? What kind of intentions we have? From our intentions, our tendencies, our preferences, we can judge our own mind as to in which category we fall and what we should do if necessary with our mind to change ourselves. The idea is to change everybody into a sattvic person, because that alone is conducive to one's own well-being. Sattva is conducive to one's own well-being, one's own happiness, one's own success. And therefore the intention there is to turn everybody into sattva. So we recognize rajas and tamas and we slowly work with them. Okay, we'll continue from tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.